am taking on my dad in a versus challenge as we race to win the Super League, with the winner of the challenge not only having to win the European Super League trophy, but also the massive knockout tournament, the European Champions Cup. And so once one of us has eventually lifted both trophies, they will be declared the winner. And we started this journey in Tier 3, where there is 192 different clubs as the managers of FC20 and Malmo. Finally, after 10 seasons, one of us has won a trophy as I managed to win the Super League after coming close a couple of times. But in the worst penalty shootout possible, we failed to win the double. And the semi-final exit of the Champions Cup means it leaves the door open still for my dad and his FC20 side. Slowly but surely, he is bringing in better players every season, and it's just a good system away from challenging and potentially winning trophies. So this season, Dad is determined to find a better system and has started buying some wingers that may help. But there are some big names you may recognise on his radar that he's targeting free transfers, as well as a couple of hidden gems from South America for a cheap cost. He was forced to bring in a left back because he didn't currently have one at the club, outside of a centre back covering the position. He ran into many troubles, however, when trying to sign players needing to delay the transfers before some players were sold, or just frankly missing out on targets who chose to go to other clubs. But his squad size was getting worryingly small. Meanwhile, in Malmo, I was spending big, bringing in a winger from Barcelona for over £100 million, dropping another £55 million on a 6'4" beast of a striker who is so well-rounded and could be a world-class goal-scoring threat. And with other targets spotted, I also looked to sell some players too who would no longer get into my side in the upcoming season. Dad was also selling a player for the same price as £64 million, however he had only signed the player on a free transfer the season before, allowing him to sign the right midfielder that he had delayed previously, another striker from Argentina who looked great, and a centre-back from Newcastle for £45 million that could add more squad depth to his side, which is exactly what he needs. Just as the season began though, I then spent another £80 million on a world-class left-back with a player that has no real weaknesses. But of course, we clashed against each other on the opening day of the season, and it took Dad just 14 minutes to take the lead. And it stayed that way into the 72nd minute with FC20 in front until Denkov sparked a comeback from a free kick, and then Dad's side just crumbled as Nelson Viper was heading in a second at the back post, and in the 85th minute, it was the substitute Benkov who scored the third and final goal. However, it wasn't such a bad start for Dad, who then went and got back-to-back 2-0 wins against Leipzig and Real Madrid. But would the problem be that he can't win the Super League trophy because I would be the one in his way? Well, Dad, considering the 3-1 win I got your view of the first game of the season, things have actually picked up for you.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Looking a little bit better now, especially near the end, the last 5 or 6 games, started getting into a winning routine, so that's what you need, really.
Other than getting knocked out of the cup on penalties.
It's the one big thing you want to try and keep in the cup, because that's where all the big money is, and I get knocked out straight away.
By Cartagena as well. I mean,
dear.
Not looking good.
No.
But yeah, the results are better. You're in 8th place, considering the start of the season that you had. Didn't get a win until your 3rd game. Only one win in 4 as well. It was a tricky start. But what I think you've done quite well this season is use your money to go on good gambles.
Yes.
The 3 players that you brought from South America, none of them cost you more than 12 million, and they're all really good, I'd say. So Luciano Blanco, I think, was one of the first ones. He was the first one. The right winger. The physicals on him is great. All right, he's 24. But
I think he's still
good.
Yeah.
Mateus Del Calisto is probably the best one out of the 3.
He looks a really good striker, doesn't he? So
yeah.
I mean, he's also 24, but I still think he can develop a little bit more.
Yeah, and then finally, Alexis Freitas, who plays on the left-hand side. Again, a physical monster.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, I think this guy is probably the best out of the 3.
Probably, yeah. He's going to supply the goals for me. So it's more of a squad building. What we've just seen, the counteract is what I'm actually going to say. I was hoping to sort of build a stronger squad for the cups.
Yeah.
And I got knocked out straight away, so that didn't work at all, did it? So
you got fullback who can play on both sides. Didn't cost that much, but again, he's not that good in terms of the quality of the league. I mean, his technicals really let him down, to be honest. Centre-back's a good signing for £45 million. Not going to come in and obviously be your best player or anything. And then finally, Severovic, who was a £20 million signing, again, plays on that left-hand side.
Nothing special.
Just try to strengthen the actual squad, the depth of the squad up more than anything. But it didn't work for the Cups, like I said. But I'm hoping over the season it will help me a little bit more.
Yeah, because you
I
had a
took
couple of
gamble.
seasons ago where you didn't have enough players, and you were
So
struggling.
I've had to
that
build it
way.
up again, and I'm really gambling that you don't go ahead and win out next season, really, because I needed a really good cup run for the extra money, but I need a good run. I need to get up into the sort of top 5.
Yeah.
With the amount of money that you can win by winning the games as well, it gives me that little bit of extra that I can buy the next grade player, I feel.
Yeah.
And I've got a bigger squad now, so I've got a few players I can actually sell then as well.
That's it. Now that you've got a good amount of your transfer or your transfer revenue back, then those little signings, which was like 10 million, you could flip next season for 30, 40.
Yeah, and that's where
You get a good
builds
amount
up then.
back.
Yeah.
Hasek is going to be nailed into that advanced forward
I've got
role.
to really. He's such a good striker, really. So I just got to hope that he sort of does the business for me. But I put that other striker I've got in, he'll do well. So there's a couple of, that top 3 there, I think, are really good.
Yeah.
I'm going forward. I'm very, very strong, I feel. So
Your midfield's probably your best position on the pitch. Those two guys in there are absolutely solid.
I don't have to worry about my midfield now.
No.
If I keep to that sort of formation with them two there, I don't have to touch that anymore.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look then and see what I have done. Now, I'm currently top of the league. Only lost 1 game to Sevilla, drew 1 to Benfica, won 11 games already. And you can see some of the wins that I've been getting. A lot of goals been going in as well. Didn't drop any points until we're about 6 games in either. 4-0 against Villa. Nice 3-0 against Brentford there. 6-1 Shakhtar. And that's because the signings I've been making have just been next level again. I've got £36 million left. Not really anywhere to spend it. £99 million went out. Of course, £64 million on what I was using as a backup striker.
Backup striker.
Yeah, I know. And I spent £239 million. But, of course, after just winning the Super League, I need the next step now and win the Champions Cup. Now, Pavelka, £102 million on the right-hand side. I know, I just sold a winger, what was it, last season or the season before, Sinistera, for £100 million, who would probably have been better in that position. I mean, he looks fantastic, but now Pavelka is £102 million, might be good in there. Denkov, £55 million. I think this is really good. 6'4" striker who's good in the air, great composure.
55 million, I think it's a bargain.
Yeah, it was. I'm looking at, and he beats the offside trap.
Yeah.
He's strong, he's quick.
You struggle to find a weakness, don't you, really?
There isn't one. Maybe passing, to be honest, is kind of the only thing. And then finally I went for, is it Akas? Or is it not? I don't know. From Schalke, £82 million, world-class left back.
Yeah, that's the left back I wish I could have bought, really, so I can't afford that. No.
I think that's 3 seasons in a row that I've bought in a world-class left back.
Yeah.
There's another one there. And the season before that was Henry Song, I think. Yeah. So 3 seasons in a row. That's what I've been able to do. Now, tactically, I'm locking in some players this year. I know I've just won the league, but what I'm thinking is I need to lock these guys in for the Cups.
Yeah.
I won the league with Vidal, Alfredo Vidal, who's 5'10" and only 4 jump and reach, playing majority of his games last season at centre-back. I needed to be playing centre-mid. I needed to play that CDM role so that my centre-backs can actually play centre-back. I want this keeper playing, although he is injured and out for 3 weeks with his torn wrist. But there we go. And I want these two up front, Denkov and Bures. I want to see what these two can do in this 4-2-2-2 wide roll, and let's see how this one plays out, because as we see, it started off great, but can it continue? I haven't played a cup game yet, and I've got Leipzig in there. Leipzig keep knocking me out.
They do, yeah. Come on, Leipzig.
I need to get my own back and beat Leipzig so I can be crowned the Super League Champions Cup winner. Do you know what I really hate? Leipzig. They have beaten me in the semi-final of the Champions Cup twice in a row, and now in the second round for a 3rd year. And with overall a bad September and a couple of other losses, we give up our top spot to Real Madrid by the new year, a point behind them. Dan has actually found it really difficult, and maybe his small squad is affecting his form as he slips down to 20th position. And by the end of the season, he was fighting to stay in the Super League instead of winning it, as he scrapped for every point. But was it enough? Oh, I mean, quite the opposite happened to both of what we had planned for.
Oh, I don't know what I've done there.
Down to 30th. I mean, you were fairly safe. You were 8 points clear.
It's not the fact of being fairly safe. It's the fact, what am I doing down there? I thought I'd strengthen my squad up there. I needed a bit more money, so I wanted to win more games. I just done everything I didn't want to do there, really.
Yeah.
Knocked out of the cup early. Awful season. Probably one of my worst seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped down into 4th place from first, 113 points with Real Madrid there. But again, it's the cup that's really screwed me over, and it's Leipzig again.
Get in, Leipzig.
I can't believe it. 2-1.
They give me another season. Thank you very much.
Kind of ended my season early, but I mean, I was at my own fault around about this time. I was picking up too many losses. I mean, that loss to Real Madrid there really put the nail in the coffin.
Mate, you can carry on winning the league if you want to.
Yeah, September actually was really bad for me because that's when I was knocked out of the Champions Cup and I dropped too many points in the league. After that, I went on a nice little run, and then this area here really stunted my growth. But I mean, Nelson Viper's still banging in the goals. So he's got 4 there. The German, who's been playing quite a lot from that left-hand side and doing really well. But there we go. So let's look at the statistics for this season. Obviously, I locked in quite a lot of players. I think that one was worth it.
Yes.
The keeper obviously is always
100%.
one where you just put time into a keeper and he will be a lot better.
Yeah.
Vidal developed into a natural in that DM role, and now I don't really have to worry about locking him in there. I think that's the most important thing there. Locking the 2 strikers was my biggest upset, I think, because Bure's only got 20 goals, 19 assists. Denkov only got 17. But Denkov, unfortunately, big injury. Broke his lower leg, out for 4 months. Obviously, I've locked him in, so as soon as he's back, he's playing again, and then he's out with shin splints. So that's never going to help whatsoever.
That's the only downside, isn't it, of locking a player in?
Yeah. So I did not score the goals that I should be.
Really, you don't really know whether that would have been a good thing for him, locking him in for the season because of his injuries. You don't find out then, do you?
Yeah,
really?
Exactly.
So he could still, next season, you could lock him in again and he could be world class.
Yeah, that's it. That's the trouble. So it was kind of like a void season for me, really. Let's have a look at yours then, Dad, because obviously second round with you as well. Goals-wise, Hasek, who you did lock in, got 20.
Yes.
But it's a supporting cast that's let you down.
I'm still disappointed with that with 20 goals, really, but that's why I'm where I am in the league.
Even Roman Thierry, who last season got you 29 league goals, only got you 7.
Yeah.
Only got you 7, and that's
poor.
Both of us have got a lot to look at across this summer window. You've only got £15 million. I mean, you still got the 100%.
I could be selling players, aren't I?
Yeah, but I can see you selling quite a lot. And myself, I've got £90 million. That's not too bad, 100% of it. And there's a few players here that I can see some wanted points on there that I could be cashing in. The likes of James Rodgers, who's been with me for a while, and he looks like a cracking player. But am I really using him now? He got 23 goals for me last season. Only got 4 this season. Only played 12 games starting. Could be those types of players that I could look to bring in better players to improve my first 11 if it's even possible. So let's have a look what happens in season number 12 summer transfer window.
Well, I mentioned big names could be leaving, but none more influential than Nelson Viper, who leaves Malmo after 10 fantastic seasons. Not far behind him either is Carlos Baleba, who also has been struggling for game time and holds some good value. And that allowed me to go out and buy an unbelievable attacker who I plan to use from the left wing for over £100 million, but the Romanian is absolutely mustard. Dad is also selling players just to raise enough to bring in better options. But he was mainly targeting a new goalkeeper after feeling like he was conceding far too many goals last year. This, alongside a new system, helped Dad with an unbelievable start to the season as he targets the Super League trophy. As on the opening day, he absolutely battered Rangers 7-0. And the change of system had worked wonders as he went on a major winning run using a 4-4-2, but will he manage to keep it up?
Well, a change of tactic, Dad, seems to have rejuvenated your side. I don't think you'll be in a relegation scrap this season.
No, I shouldn't be. I mean, I've had a really good start. First few games of the season to go on a run like that. I'm really pleased with that. It puts you sort of where I wanted to be now.
Yeah, unbeaten in your first 9 games, only losing 1-0 to Schalke and Milan, away games as well.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid in between was another victory in there. So a really good start. And we've started it without you getting knocked out. All right, you still haven't played the second round of the Cup yet, and you have Chelsea.
Oh, no.
But for now, you're still in it.
Yeah, I'm still in it. So fingers crossed I can go a little bit further this time. Like, all the way. I need to, because if I win it, you can't win it.
Yeah, that's it. You said you might sell a few players. You didn't really. I mean, Celino went out. Castillo went out for £20 million.
When I really deeply looked into the squad, I felt I didn't have a bad squad. I just thought maybe it was the wrong tactics, so I just picked
put
a couple
a lot of emphasis into the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
That's what you've done this season, spending 58 million.
That's right, yeah. So I spent a lot of money there. That sort of strengthens that a little bit up. So hopefully that can do me really. And then I had a couple of good freebies, so I thought, well, get them in as well. May score a few more goals, good strikers as well. But just change the tactic. That's all I've done really. And
Sticking two up front.
Stick to the players that I had and two up front, yeah.
Yeah, so go into a classic 4-4-2 with two DMs in there. Obviously, your two DMs.
They're not going to change, were they, really? So
no. But the two strikers can flip and flop. You haven't nailed anybody in this season, which I think might have been a bit of a mistake from you last season, because Hasek just played every game and then he wasn't scoring.
No, that's right, yeah.
So it's not like keeping his consistency going. But yeah.
A bit more competition for the roles as well, I think. So yeah.
Definitely. And as it shows, it started off really well.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of things, I have sold a few players. I mean, there's a couple of players that have been big staples in this for me. Nelson Viper and Baleba both leaving.
Can I just talk? Nelson Viper, when you were selling him, I nearly went in because I thought, well, should I go for him or what? Because I needed a striker. I knew I needed a striker, but I just couldn't afford him really. It's sort of like
at that time you didn't have anything.
No. And I was at him and I thought, well, shall I just? And you'd so by the time I got the money for it, you'd already sold him, so gone.
To Tottenham as well.
Yeah.
Carlos Baleba also went for £52 million. I think I've got a good amount of money for him because the players that I decided to bring in, I mean, Dinu was one of them. It's a guy I went for last season, then changed my mind because he played for Rennes. And then he went to Ipswich, and I doubled the cost, and I went for him anyway. But he's decent. A very good, world-class striker, of course, as you can see. Good with both feet. Will he get into the first team? Don't really know. He's Romanian, 23 years of age, can also play on that left-hand side, though. That's the main reason why I bought him, because Nelson Viper left. So, as a left midfielder, he will probably play every single game there. Up front, maybe not so much, which might be his favourite position. Daniel Pedersen, though, £74 million, is another fullback. Now, I actually don't know whether he'll get in. Because if you go on off the starting 11, I'm not locking anybody in. The best 11 is this. Now, Dinu goes in. Compare goes up right back. And you can see why. Because, I mean, that the mentals and physicals are phenomenal.
Your defence is just absolutely solid, I think.
Yeah. So, he might not get that many games. But
no.
we'll have to see anyway. But my centre-back's out for a little bit. It's not too long. We don't have to worry about that too much. Everywhere else, kind of happy with. The likes of Rogers is still around. And he's actually classed as one of my strongest players, which does surprise me, but I'm not falling for that trick again. I'm not locking anyone in. They're going to have to make their own thing. Denkov, Benkoff, and Stenkov, any other players with off are staying. They're not off. They're here for good. Now, start of the season, I've just drawn too many games.
Yeah.
I actually started badly, losing, but I did get a player sent off when I was trying to chase the game. But I lost to Man United, and I drew to the likes of Middlesbrough, Dortmund, and a good draw against Real Madrid, which isn't too bad. I haven't got past Leipzig yet, but if I do, in the Champions Cup, who knows? But it's a good start. I've only got Midtjylland in that, which they're in tier 2. I should win that. Acerbi, funny enough, is their manager. Now, I'm pretty sure it was a while ago. Yeah, he retired at my club.
All right.
So he's the manager I'll be facing in the first game. He got 9 goals for me in that season. I remember it. I was very proud of that. So we'll see what that happens when we clash against him in that. But big season. Dad's starting to catch up. Maybe he's found the formula because he's actually in a bit of a title race.
Yeah.
Just 12 games in. Real Madrid are unbeaten, though. That's the trouble. Will they ever lose? It's one of those things. So let's see. Season number 12, then. What happens here?
What happened was that Dad had finally got past the 3rd and even the 4th round of the Champions Cup. All while grinding out a good amount of wins in the Super League just to stay within touching distance of the league title. However, his problem was that I had also overcome 2 rounds in the Cup as well. And of course, as fate would have it, we clash in the 5th round of the Champions Cup. In the league, Real Madrid had finally lost to Barcelona, and Dan and I were trailing behind in 3rd and 5th place. But the most important game of the season for both of us was the 5th round of the Champions Cup, where once again Dad took the lead. But just like in the previous fixture in which he lost 3-1, he couldn't hold on to his advantage, and my Malmo side, which seemed to rest a lot of world-class players, eventually woke up and scored 3 goals in total, knocking Dad out of the competition. And at this point, I went through into the quarterfinals where I beat Fenerbahce, and RB Leipzig were also eliminated into the semi-finals with a clash against Wolfsburg. And the game before the semi-final, I inflicted yet another loss onto Dad as he came to Sweden and I defeated his Twente side 3-0. But in the semi-final, with both teams taking the lead at some point in the game, only to be pegged back 2-2 in the final seconds, only 1 goal was needed. And in the 94th minute, Wolfsburg defender went flying into a tackle which awarded us a last-minute penalty. And up stepped Benkov, who made no mistake, sending us into the final. So as we finally overcame the semi-final, just one team stands in our way of winning the Champions Cup and completing the challenge, and it's Salzburg. But on the final few games of the Super League season, both Dad and I had been on epic winning runs. And I had somehow gone since January without losing a single game, and just very limited draws meant that I had claimed back the title ahead of Real Madrid, with Dad's 20 side in 3rd place, and a lot of our players dominating the player statistics. But more importantly, it's time for the Champions Cup final, Malmo versus Salzburg. And I would like to say it was a very dramatic ending, and just like the semi-final, a very late goal to win and lift the trophy. But in fact, it was a completely dominated game by our Malmo side, who didn't give Salzburg a sniff, scoring 4 goals and completing a very one-sided final with class and securing the double. Which of course means that I have beaten my dad in the race to both Super League trophies.
It's done! The double is done! And in the same season as well. Because not only did I win the Champions Cup 4-0 against Salzburg, knocking Dad out along the way, but of course, we also picked up the Super League trophy in the same season as well. It didn't have to, it just happened. And 119 points.
Oh, he wanted easy, didn't he? I mean, the squad that you had were absolutely fantastic. I knew I was in trouble when I seen your squad. The game that I lost against you, the most important game, was in the cup.
Yeah,
I needed to beat.
really
If I was going
needed
to
to
beat
win
you
that
anywhere, I needed to win that game.
Absolutely.
I mean, I am absolutely over the moon with how I finished. They're 3rd with 100 points. Or I lost 9 games, which is a lot of games, but they're relevant hard teams in this league. So I felt I was in the right position now. I thought 1, maybe 2 seasons, I'd be there or thereabouts. But I had to win that cup game.
I felt like I was dangling the carrot just until as soon as you went through, I was like, oh, I'll win it now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for you. Now, in terms of the player statistics, Benkov had the most goals, 41, after a bad season last year, breaking his leg.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at that. Or was that Denkov? I can't remember. Was that Benkov or Denkov? No, it was Denkov who broke his leg. Benkov didn't break his leg. He just went on and scored loads of goals this season instead. But the average rating, Dinu, Bures and Benkov, all up there. Really good. But the most important thing is that Champions Cup win. Benkov with the most goals in that one as well. But of course, along the way was knocking out Dad. Wolfsburg, at that point, I was thinking, okay, I have to be favourites to win this now. I cannot screw this up. Quarter-final, knocking out Fenerbahce. That's when Leipzig went out, so I was kind of like, oh, get in. My bogey team is out of the cup. But the 5th round, when we come up against each other, that's the one where it was kind of like, yeah, it's now or never for both of us.
That's right, yeah.
Really.
I had to beat you there. I had to beat you there. I'm disappointed I lost that game, really. So I would have given away a few more places in the league to win that game, really.
Yeah, definitely. But you finally got up there, just not good enough in the end, Dad. Let's look at that squad, though, because Hasek got 32.
Yeah, this season much better.
19 for Roman Thierry, 18 for Racheta. Great from Luciano Blanco, who's developed quite nicely as well. And he gave you only £20 million on the transfer budget. So if you did continue, it wasn't going to be much going into it. But myself, let's look at the victorious team. 48 from Benkov. Dinu coming in, playing on that left-hand side, getting 29
you said he was
and
going to be
15.
good, didn't you?
Yeah. Krupi and Bures got 26 assists. which is mental. And he played mostly from that right-hand side. Insane, really. But Akas as well, 22 assists. Compare, 15 assists. The fullbacks were really good. And I think this team deserved to win it all. And I probably got, yeah, £256 million if I wanted to carry on. Just typical.
You're in the cup, aren't you?
But I don't know where I would have been able to improve this team. This was absolutely an exceptional side.
Probably one of the best sides I've seen you build.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But there it is. The race to the Super League is over. Omega Luke is victorious, winning both in that final season. But what challenge will we take on next? Make sure you're subscribed to find out. And why not check out this video here? Because if you haven't seen it yet, we did a race to the Champions League, starting off unemployed. Here's the full movie.